right, very nice.
Okay, so this is the Let's Play for Arid, and I'm here with Feiko.
Hi, yeah, that's me. I'm Feiko, so I'm one of the designers on Arid. I'm actually the lead game designer. Yeah, so we worked on Arid with a team of about 21 people. It's a survival exploration game set in the Atacama Desert. And, well, I guess we will see how you manage to survive in there.
Bubba, this is Tiger. Do you
Oh,
read
and you know
me?
what? I just realized I'm not even sharing my screen with you. So let me do that.
That might be nice.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, so I've just started now the sort of the intro cutscene.
Company said we go east, and that's it. Over.
I'm telling you, Bubba, there's some real bad juju going on here. Christ! What is that? Damn dust cloud came out of nowhere!
Tiger, you gotta pull up and out! Dust is coming up the end!
I can't! I'm stalling! I'm dead stick, but I have to land. Bubba, tell my dad!
Great intro segment. I really like
It's
how
always cool to hear it.
when all you have is the audio and there's nothing really to visualize it, so you're just kind of, I don't know, I really like the fact that it's just
Don't black out.
all audio.
Yeah, that was also, well, we were a student project, of course. We had to cut some corners somewhere,
Yeah.
but this was a really amazing way to still have a really cool intro. Still get the feeling across.
And here we are. So, on to the game, you mentioned that you were, sorry, was it the sort of lead designer?
Yeah. So lead
Okay.
game designer, we had a few different
As
teams, of
far as
course.
the crash rate
Level
goes,
designers was a pretty big team as well.
Textbook.
And we worked with about
Where
9
the hell am
game
I?
designers. So I was basically overviewing the whole process, in charge of some of the systems, and working together with our producer to fulfill the vision of the game.
I got busted up real good. The crates should have.
And
some fresh
the story, did you have much, were you in those meetings a lot when the story was discussed? Because I think it's quite a unique story. I didn't even know about the desert. I had to look it up to see if it was a fictional or real desert.
Yeah, it's really cool. We started with research. Oh, there's some delay going on.
Oh.
That's fine. Yeah, so the Atacama, I didn't know what the Atacama Desert was before we started this project. And the more we did research, the more we found out that there's some really intriguing stories in there. And we tried to combine that with the story of the game as much as possible.
I'll need a torch.
We also reached out to some of the developers of other similar survival games, like
Whoever's in there, I come
let's
in
see, Raft,
peace.
the narrative designer there.
Yeah.
So we had spent a lot of time on making the story as big as
Water.
possible. That's our main
Thank God
selling
for
point in
small
this game.
favors. I'm gonna need to ration that. Looks like someone was staying here recently. I hope they don't mind me squatting.
And everyone can see during the Let's Play that at the top, the sun exposure bar, I need to obviously get out of the sun because now things are going bad. Oh,
Oh, this is my favorite feature.
Aren't you adorable?
I really had to fight with my producer for this.
it reminds me of, if you know the Twitter account, Can You Pet This Dog?
Yeah,
yeah.
that's basically why we did it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's a welcomed feature.
Table, fireplace. Is that a workbench? Looks like they had the whole 9 yards.
Oh, this is really cool. And then, of course, your hunger and thirst go down.
Yeah, you kind of trade off the hunger and thirst for more energy. And I think the sleeping was one of the most difficult features for both our designers and our programmers to implement. There were so many changes on that. But eventually it worked out really well. And at the start of the year, we had a bunch of requirements from the teachers.
Yeah.
One of them being a single-player survival game set in the Atacama Desert, and we couldn't have base building. Basically, we did big research on like 60 different survival games. I think 95 to 99% have base building and multiplayer, of course. That's like the big feature nowadays. So that's, well, at first I was kind of annoyed because base building does give you a big audience, of course.
Yeah.
But in the end, it worked out really well, I think, with rebuilding features. And there's a lot of games that don't really have base building, but still have the feeling of progression. Like The Long Dark, of course. They do it really well. We kind of try to make something like that.
Yeah, and finding this sort of, I forget what it was called, but this place where you can rest at night reminds me as well as The Long Dark and how you find those cabins and places to rest. So now
Yeah, exactly.
I should have fuel for my canteen, or my torch, hopefully. Let's see. Alcohol, maybe. I'm not sure. But I wanted to see... Oh, I can repair. Okay.
I can give you a tip if you like.
Yeah, go ahead.
Don't want to say too much, of course. In your inventory, you skipped right past it.
Did I? Was it in this direction, or...?
Yes. No, in your inventory. You do have it.
Oh, okay. Let's see. Oh. It was the second one.
That's another thing we did much more, well, with this project than previous projects, was playtesting. We had a Discord community of about 2,000 people, all wanting to help us out.
Baba?
So
It's gotta
near
be.
the end of the project, we just
I
had
need to get his
week-long
attention.
playtests, a continuous playtest, basically.
That's really cool.
It's so frustrating to see players struggle with your features.
Yeah. Yeah, when you think it's just so obvious, and you're thinking, why can't they figure this out?
Yeah, why are you being so stupid? The
Yeah,
players
yeah.
aren't stupid, it's just, you should change your design.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just still so impressed by the scale of the game, and just the art team, of course, did an amazing job at recreating.
Yes.
And the music, was the music done from fellow students, or was it a soundtrack that you were able to find online?
No, it was actually made by our sound designer. He's also a student at a different university.
Yeah.
And he basically did this as a side project. It's
Really?
impressive. Yeah, he had no experience with developing sounds for games at all, just more like theater shows and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But he kind of inspired him to get more into game development. It's really cool to see.
That's really cool, yeah, because from the music, and especially the trailer music really stood out to me, and I thought, this is like creating such a perfect mood for the game.
Yeah, it was spot on right away.
Yeah.
Impressive how he works. We actually also released a soundtrack DLC available for free, of course.
Is it? Yeah.
With like 20 songs he made for the game.
And the game, I forget, is it on Steam?
Yeah, it is on Steam.
Okay. And I think it's free on Steam, isn't it?
That's a mine shaft.
Yeah, completely free.
Yeah.
Rappel down that
No
way.
plans to change that. So
Should
we
be able to
received
find
so
a way
many
out.
positive comments from
I'd
people that
rather
it was free.
find
And
another way.
yeah, it's just amazing to see how the community responds to something like this, to a project like this.
Yeah, so anyone who's watching and they like what they see, yeah, it's free, and it's, by the sounds of it, yeah, like you said, it's a lot longer than than it had to be with school, and there's quite a bit of game here. And I enjoy so far that the survival elements don't feel overbearing.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like you're able to explore and do as much as you can, but also keep an eye on, your well-being. But I find there are many games that they just focus a bit too much on the survival aspect, that it becomes a distraction from the game itself.
Yeah, it is really challenging to find a balance in that. So I can understand why some developers are really struggling with it. And for us as well, it was really hard to find a balance in this. Our target audience initially was more of the hardcore gamer.
Yeah.
Like the long dark fans. They really like, well, suffering in survival games. But in the end, we had to tone that down a bit. And still, there were some people who said, no, this is too hard or this is too easy. So as one of our final updates, we released a difficulty menu at the start of the game.
Okay, so encumbrance does affect you, but I'm still able to walk around as well. I'm just a bit heavier.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it basically builds up in tiers. The more you carry, the slower you get.
Did you have a favorite part of developing Arid? Or is there a certain feature or that really stands out for you?
Yeah, all the attribute systems. So attributes, can you call them attributes? Yes, sure. More like the status effects. That's the naming for them.
Oh, yeah.
So if your health gets too low, your thirst gets too low, you get a status effect, and you have to actively work on that to solve it. One of them you just got was encumbered. There's a bunch more. Won't spoil them all. But it was a lot of fun just working on these and trying them all out. And especially with the different systems our programmers made, we had a Google Sheet where we could enter all the items and different recipes and different status effects. So it was really easy to just go crazy and test what works and throw stuff out if it doesn't work.
So now I'm trying to... I was just going around and then it's right in my face, but there's the hint system. And I thought, oh yeah, I probably should be crafting stuff, not just walking around. And I know there's a workbench up there, but I'm wondering if there's more to be found down this way. Are there sort of enemies, or are you just combating sort of the elements and your own survival needs?
Well, there are some enemies,
Okay.
but I won't spoil them.
Yeah.
I think you will reach them in this playthrough.
Oh, okay.
And of course, I don't think you will encounter these. There's different kinds. Of course, we also had some more realistic, some more real-life inspired enemies, like the Atacama wasps, which are huge wasps, really creepy. So we added those.
Yeah.
Of course, why not? But yeah, enemies were a challenge in this game, but they really add a lot.
Just the idea of giant wasps is kind of terrifying.
I think one of our artists made or found a model of one of those giant wasps. It was so creepy. We added them to the game, scaled them up like 10 times.
Oh, what is... I wonder what that is. Yeah, now I can hear the birds, and it's making me a bit... I'm wondering, like, am I safe here? Or do I have to worry about...
That's something that I really love with the sound designer and our team, of course, did the tiny, well, spicy details, like this, of course, the sand, and you have some birds flying around somewhere, the bird sounds. All of those tiny things, they really make the experience for me.
Yeah, and the birds, they sound... like just the way the audio was designed, they sound like they're coming from everywhere. So it's really distracting because you can't tell if they're in front of you or behind you. They're just surrounding you. It's really effective.
Yeah, really cool.
So these blue, there's been a few now. I don't know, blue tarps or blue cloths. Are they sort of markers for the game to sort of push you forward?
They can be, yes. Of course, the game is kind of linear, unlike many other survival games. So cloths like those, you can pick them up and deplete the resources in one area to keep moving on. So picking up the cloths in this case would show you that you've already been there, kind of like Hansel and Gretel. Is that the story?
Yeah. Yeah, it seems like, at least from my perspective, that you found such a great team to work with, and you've already made such a successful game that... Oh no, this is sad. That it would be nice to be able to continue working with everyone who wants to be involved.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it was such a talented team to work with, and we had a lot of fun during development of this.
I've noticed earlier in the game, but the effects of the sort of the heat waves, if you will, really cool. It just looks. I don't even know how to describe it. I guess it looks really cool. Is a bit too simple a way to say it, but okay.
Yeah, I think that's what we also discovered. Our previous project in university
Can't
were
go on.
maximum 3 months long,
Need some shut eye.
so we never really had time for polishing the game and adding stuff like that. But making sure that the polish is there, the tiny changes make the biggest impact on your experience in the game. It's really cool to be able to do that. Sleeping next to the mummy, nice.
yeah, I know. I walked out and then I saw how tired I was, and I thought, well, I don't have a choice. I have to. So you mentioned sort of the status effects earlier. Are there visual effects that go along with it? Like if you, maybe by the time of the end of the let's play, I'll run up the meter for the sun exposure and we'll see what happens. But with other status effects that you can get hit by, what other stuff can we find? Is there like maybe poisoned or completely fatigued?
Yeah, there are quite a few status effects related to food poisoning or poisoning in general from the bee stings. You also have alcohol, so that was a fun visual effect to work on. And but yeah, most of the visual effects are related to your direct needs as a player.
Okay.
So, for example, thirst is one of the main visual features. If your thirst depletes, then you basically cannot see well, just like in real life, I suppose. And we took a lot of inspiration from Green Hell in this case. It's a really, I wouldn't say realistic, but it's very detailed, the survival in Green Hell. You have so many status effects. It's of course survival in the jungle. Lots of diseases to work with, and I believe they did it really well. You found.
Yeah, I just
work of the level designers.
I was really surprised that I saw that, and terrifying. Well, yeah, just like the mummy in the bed. When you see that, it kind of puts you in shock.
Kind of. I didn't actually know that they left this in.
I just noticed here. I don't know if it's a rope or a pulley system or
A hook. Might as
oh.
well hold on to that.
Oh.
Okay, I think I have a bit too much stuff at this point. Oh yeah, I wanted to see what happens if I hit the max sun exposure, and of course I really enjoy that. Obviously, once you go to the shadows, you're not affected as much, but
And you also have some different items that you can help to reduce sun exposure or cure sun exposure. It's all done through the crafting system, and there's so many tiny details to all the systems we have. In the end, once you keep adding on to systems, they become so complex and so detailed. That's, well, I'm sure you know, as a game developer, most projects that I've worked on at least are like held together with duct tape.
Yeah.
If you change one thing, everything breaks.
Yeah, and I've only had the chance to develop one game at this point, but the whole time that we were developing up, we kept saying to ourselves, let's just scale everything down, scale everything back, because everyone had all of these great ideas, and then eventually it was just like, no, we can't do any of these, so let's just make it simple. And like you said, by the end of it, it was just it was held together by duct tape. But that's sort of the fun of it.
Quality games.
Yeah.
Yeah, if it works, it's amazing.
Yeah.
As long as you don't change anything. And in Arid, of course, we had the full release, and we have the bug reporting tool in the game. So it sends me a Discord message directly if you report a bug in the game.
Yeah.
But working with so many systems and so many players, they found so many weird bugs or glitches. At one point, we had a player with 30,000 kilograms in his inventory without any negative effects. We were like, what? How did he even find that many rocks?
I wanted to point out as well that the artist's work on these rocks is amazing. It's so detailed, and there's a bit of like it's not just a flat texture. There's actually some bumps and grooves and everything to it. Yeah, so it's the Let's Play.
There's the details in there.
Yeah, it's fascinating. We're nearly done with the Let's Play, but I want to see what happens if we go all the way up to the Sun Explosion, then we can end it there. But since we're coming to an end, do you want to say? Is there anything that you want to say more about Arid or about yourself or what you're doing next?
Yeah, sure. Well, so far, my voice doesn't want to work with me anymore. But so far, it's been amazing to see the community's responses on there.
I wanted to see if there's fall damage.
Yes, there is.
There is. Sorry, continue.
But yeah, the community so far in Arid has been amazing, and we really want to keep working on Arid for the community. Let's make this into a big project. Yeah, we do have a Discord channel, of course, Discord server. And maybe for you or for the people watching this, I think if you repair the mine entrance, that's where things, in my opinion, get really interesting.
Yeah.
Won't spoil too much, but it will be challenging as well.
Yeah,
Lots of fun.
I had the impression that, oh, this is really cool as well. Yeah, I had the impression that I should focus more on the crafting side of things, but during the Let's Play, it's difficult to sort of concentrate on everything, so I just focused on getting around. But yeah, I'm very intrigued to see what's down there.
And I gotta say, you're playing this pretty fast. It's impressive. Do you play survival games often?
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah, like Long Dark, as you mentioned. Well, we've talked about many times. I've put a lot of hours into that game. I love it. But yeah, so thanks so much for joining me. This is really fun. And again, Arid is free for anyone who wants to play. And by the sounds of it as well, that you and the team have been really supportive of your fans and any feedback that they have. So yeah, it seems like such a great experience for everyone involved.
Yeah, absolutely. And if anyone has any questions, I'm always, well, most of the time online on Discord, so feel free to hit me up there.
All right, I think that's a good time to end it then. Okay, thanks again for joining me.
All right. Thank you for having me.